Hi, favored ones. Welcome to Soul Talk. Our guest for today is Chris Almirañez. He is a resilience coach and a mindfulness practitioner. He also provides counseling and consultancy services related to addiction and substance use prevention. I'm actually excited ako to talk to Chris kasi it's so fun to talk to him. Lagi siyang nakasmile. The first time I met him was at CEFAM, at the Center for Family Ministries. He was my classmate. And medyo na-weirdohan lang ako. Sabi ko, who is this dude at the back who kept on laughing out loud and who speaks with an American accent? pero pero I love Chris. I love the vibe and I love the attitude. And of course, when I learned a little bit of his story, yung background, I really wanted him to share whatever it is that he has learned and all the insights that he has gained through this journey we call life. So without further ado, let's welcome Chris. Hi Chris, kamusta?
Hi, Brendy. Good morning.
Ang saya,
I
no?
re- I remember that. Yeah, yeah, I was laughing at the back, but I was so scared. That was my first time going back to school. But yeah, you were. Yeah, that was a good experience, actually.
Oo, parang that was back in 2018.
Yeah,
Oo.
2018.
And
Yeah.
then we took the course part-time. So, alam mo naman ang buhay. Ngayon that I'm completing the program, Chris is also about to complete his program. Pareho kaming part-time na nakuha in courses. Oh, 'di ba? Ang ganda naman ng synchronicity of life.
Oh,
Pero
I like
Chris,
that
ayun,
word.
kwenta ka na.
Yes.
Ano,
Kwento ako.
what keeps you ano yung mga pinagkakaabalahan mo?
Oh, okay. What keeps me busy? Yeah, a lot, Brandy. For one, I am a moderator of a mindfulness club at the Ateneo Grade School.
Oo.
I've been doing online mindfulness workshops. Uh, and what else? Uh, it's there's still a lot that I do for my advocacy with regards to addiction. I'm with this fellowship, that brings hope in new life to people that are seeking a new way of life. Yeah, so amongst other things, yes, I've been doing counseling as well, and yeah, it's been pretty busy, but pretty productive, and I can't complain. I can't complain.
Pero is this your full-time work or this is your parang on the side na calling?
Well, call it my full-time freelance work, but at the same at the same time, there's purpose in it. You could call it my calling as well, because I've been in the corporate side of things. I've been a research analyst for certain companies dealing with shareholder meetings and stuff. I've also been my last job was with an accounting firm in the States, but you know sometimes things take an alternate route, or perhaps I took a right or a left that wasn't necessary, and it's brought me to where I am right now.
Parang nakakatuwa yung left or right. Pero alam mo, one thing I'm curious about is being a resilience coach. How would you define that kind of work?
uh, Resilience coach, it's being, just uh, it's being matatag. I'm sharing how to be matatag to other people, bringing a sense of, especially in these times, di ba, yung parang, oy, what's wrong, what's going on, what will happen to me. It's just bringing something out, also through mindfulness, of how they can build their inner katatagan, friends. Uh, in a way, we do have our coping mechanisms in
Yeah.
play. But of course, as time goes on, these mechanisms may not be what appropriate already, or might call for a different change if the patterns are somewhat awry, and it's not working anymore. Yeah.
Oo. Actually, tama ka sa coping mechanisms eh. What used to work before may no longer work right now.
Yes,
So, doon
yes.
nagkakaroon ng parang yanig. So,
Yes, yes.
so how, so being matatag, yun yung, yun yung ano,
Yes.
I'm sure you also learned how to be matatag. Ano yung
Yeah,
background story mo doon? Kasi ano eh,
background.
like what you said earlier, there were lefts and right turns that you did that weren't really necessary but led you also towards the correct path.
Yeah.
So, yung pagiging matatag, was it also part of that?
Yes, definitely, Brandy. Needless. Well, I'd like to share also that I came from a very dark place, and I have a disorder. I'm a person with substance use disorder, or layman's terms, I was a full blown addict back in the day. Coming from, let's say, if you see me, maybe people can, oh, maybe he wasn't brought up in a good family, maybe there were certain factors that led to him. But you know what? I came from a family that wasn't broken. I did not have any trauma. uh, you know Bad enough traumas that got me into that world. um, Perhaps, well, as we studied in Sefam nga, di ba? If you trace the genogram, yeah, I do have that gene. Physiologically, I do have that gene of addiction, and it just came out. Um, my full blown problem with addiction came out when I was in my mid 30s, 34 or 30, 34 to be specific. So, di ba, usually they start off young. Mine came out late. I just had a baby. I had a very good job, but yeah, I came from that. Um, and there were a lot of things that I went through, a lot of craziness that I went through, and these were the bad choices that I made in my life. Yeah, left, right, circle. That's where I was going around and around. Doing the same things. I thought I was manageable with substance, but I was looking for. There were things that I said that, oh, I can handle this, or I was expecting different results, but with doing the same routes. Yeah, you know what? I experienced being homeless. I experienced losing a family. I experienced even going to jail, actually, Brendy. Alam mo yun, wow, I'm in a different world. I used to just watch that National Geographic series, Locked Up Abroad. And I was like,
Oo.
oh, these guys are scary. Hindi ko mangyayari sa akin. I found myself in that situation. And yeah. Yeah, and from there, I see it as a blessing. I mean, the blessing of being lost, the blessing of suffering, and it got me to do what I want to do. Actually, what's really close to my heart. I work with people with addiction. I haven't stopped. I'm very active with this organization, um, and yeah, whenever the call whenever there's a call, to help someone, I'm always there. I'm always there. I make it a point that, yeah, this is God's way of telling me, hey, Chris, here's here's where we are now. Here's probably, here's what I want you to do. And, being the messenger, yeah, it's what I want to do. And the other offshoots, mindfulness has helped me so much with my disorders. And just being a guide for someone, especially with kids. I'm very akin to helping or guiding kids, because probably that's one thing that I missed out growing up. I didn't have like a role model, really. So yeah, just to share what I could share, or impart, or any help that I could do, actually. And I've been blessed with what I've been doing, so that yeah, it got me into meeting you in Sefam and all those wonderful people in Sefam, and it got me on the right path. Was these challenges given to me? No, it was my choice, actually. But yeah, I see it as a blessing of going through suffering, because it's the U-turn, it's the alternate routes that made me find my purpose here right now.
Na-mention mo 34 ka when you started going through that path.
Yeah.
Pero you don't look old.
It's mindfulness, and you know that.
You don't look old at all. Kasi that was a decade ago, parang gano'n, no?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
almost.
yeah.
But you're right that it was a blessing because it eventually led you towards your God-inspired work.
Yes,
Yes, that's what I
yes,
call it.
yes.
Pero could you talk a little about addiction? Kasi maraming different kinds 'di ba? And most people
Yeah,
would just think addiction is substance use.
yes,
Pero we know
yes.
that it's not. Maybe you could also expound more on addiction.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, actually. There's alcohol addiction, there's sex addiction, there's food addiction. Nowadays, what's coming up is gaming addiction. And what is addiction ba nga pa talaga, di ba? It has to meet a certain criteria, not because uh, I'm eating a lot, it's already food addiction. There's a certain criteria for that. To make put it simply, if your life gets to be unmanageable, for example, hygiene, you're not taking a bath anymore. Your 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 job, you're losing jobs, you're losing family. It's just not a recreational thing anymore, that okay, I'll do this on Saturdays, okay, and then it becomes, oh, I'll do this every other day, and then it turns out to be, I'm doing this every day, and I'm doing this certain amount every day. That's when it falls into that category. Of course, there's still different levels. Intervention is already needed when it's already mid-level to high. But of course, we do have to see those other things, like intervention is always priority. Before no, I mean prevention is important, rather than to get to that point where intervention is needed.
Ah,
It's
okay.
always,
Kaya pala may
yeah,
mindfulness for kids ka. That's a way to
yes,
prevent.
yes, and kids now are really curious. What's drugs? Is it good? Some of the questions they ask when I talk about that. How does it taste like? I'm like, okay, yeah, and probably that's where I started to before I got curious. Uh, you know, put it this way: there's a lot of things that would be a gateway to perhaps what your addiction would be. For me, environment factors were there, peer pressure was there, but of course that gene of addiction was really strong in me. If I look at my family genogram, I have uh, an uncle who died of alcohol, and going back further, there were some behavioral addictions as well. So that's why it's not just with drugs when you say addiction, but it's also those other stuff, alcohol, games, and it's funny to say that, oh, drugs is always the problem, blah blah blah, but actually alcoholism is the number one killer when it comes to addiction. It's alcoholism, and it's it's the easiest way. It's also a gateway drug because it's legal, right? Unlike those where the ones in the street, where there's a certain shadiness and people tend to steer away from them. But alcoholism is really a prevalent problem.
different kinds of addictions. Tapos may
Yes.
criteria pa for that.
Yes.
Pero usually
Yes.
it's you get to assess if the life is still functional. Kung may trabaho ka pa ba, nakakatrabaho ka pa
Yeah.
ba, meron ka ba good
Nakatrabaho ka pa.
hygiene. At least man lang yung basic questions, di ba?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a different world. Kasi
It's a
as
different world.
counselors, we have we cater to different issues, and yours definitely is it's something also quite new for me what you have shared. Syempre alam ko yung generic, in general, but then
Mm-mm.
the world where you're really revolving, kung saan ka umiikot, iba
Yeah.
talaga, iba.
Yeah, and then when you're into that na kasi, you always hear people say na kaya mo yan, it's all in the state of mind. It's ganyan, but it's not. It's the chemicals that are working in the brain that, those things, those advices, they don't work anymore. They're just okay, okay, maybe for you, but it's not to judge. But yeah, um, even the intervention itself, you just don't, you have to see if where a program is appropriate for a certain person. You just, it's not always the case where you just throw someone, you know um, into a rehab facility. I'm not saying that, rehabs are bad. It's actually, they've been helping the community pretty much, and I came from that. Maybe based on experience, I'm not the one who would be classified under outpatient uh,
Oh, okay.
intervention. I really had to go to rehab, Brendy. I really had to go into rehab. That was my category. And yeah, it's helped a lot. I found my spirituality there. I found a renewed sense of purpose. Of course, finding the right facility also is detrimental to, a person suffering from addiction. It's also detrimental to his progress, or, that kind of recovery is what they say.
There's one rehab that the students of Sefam used to visit, and it's
Hmm.
really nice. What's that facility again?
I forgot what it is.
Oo eh. Pero ang ganda doon. Ang ganda.
Mm.
And yun lang nga, parang it seems like it's only available to those who are more privileged.
Yeah, there are facilities that do, have their certain fees because there are certain specializations. But, there's a lot of programs right now. I know Angeles, they have a very good community-based program that is in play. Even during the pandemic, they're very active. And, there's been a lot of people coming into recovery. It goes across the board. It's not because, oh, he's rich, that's why he's an addict. No, it also affects, the bottom group. And, you know there has been a lot of effort from public and private people that are willing to help and, work on this problem that we are having in our country.
Oo nga. Kanina na-mention mo rin na it's not just a state of mind, but then the person is really battling chemical imbalances.
Yes.
Oo. Pero kung ganun, what are the alternatives so that it could alleviate the kind of suffering that the person is going through?
um, you know what? One thing that I've seen that helps an addict recover is finding his connection again, being able to, connect with people again. Again, it goes back to resilience. The need for safety is one. Being able to trust people again. There's three factors actually when it comes to resilience. First is the need for safety. Second is the need for connection, and third is the need for satisfaction. Those are the three factors that I work with when it comes to people with addiction. they've been through a lot. Being on the streets, dealing with people. There's that need for safety. In my case, for the first time, I felt safe that I was in a facility, that I didn't have to look look behind me, because there's this paranoia that builds up. Uh, People being with people also that are working on a program uh, for their recovery. There's this connection. Hey, I'm not alone. Addicts feel that I felt that I was unique. I felt I had this unique story that no one else could understand. But being with people that are suffering just like me, and you hear their stories, hey, wow, I'm not alone. And that already is that factor where, oh, I'm safe. I'm safe here. This space, this rehab is my safe space. And with that interaction, with proper counseling, that sense of connection again. As addicts, me as an addict, I was more of isolating myself from everyone. Just like I said, no one understood me, so I'd rather be alone, just rather be, in harm's way. But it's not the case. It's not the case. And seeing people and hearing their stories of recovery, you get to have this sense of there's empathy here, there's compassion that's being built, diba? And then that third factor of being resilient, the need for satisfaction. Of course, like me, I can't do drugs anymore. No,
Nakahanap ng
it's
satisfaction.
yeah. Right. So there needs to be a different sense of satisfaction now. um, One satisfaction that I get, uh, is having a renewed sense of gratitude. Being able to see the little things that, oh, just by thinking, wow, I have a new life now. Not everyone who goes through addiction is given this kind of chance. So that makes me grateful. Um, what makes me grateful as well, or a sense of satisfaction, is finding that purpose in what I do, helping others. That's a start. That's where my calling perhaps started. We went out when I was in the program. They had some uh, missions, as what they call it, and we were going out to up to the Cordilleras, uh, sharing our experience with people. Um, and then what other satisfaction do I look for? Mindfulness was one. Meditation was one. It led me. It's not really a practice where it directs you to a certain spirituality, but it led me there. Just being able to sit comfortably in silence, where before my mind was going here, here, here. There's that satisfaction in just meditating. Um, Also, confidence. I was able to build my confidence, and that's one of the satisfactions that I've garnered. I grew up as a hindi halata, like you said
Hindi
kanina. I
nga
grew up.
eh. Hindi halata
I
na walang confidence before.
I was very shy. I was really very shy growing up, and perhaps I sought how to change that through other means. But yeah, just being able to talk to people like with you right now, that's what recovery taught me. That's the satisfaction I get to just being able to talk to people, share my experience, my authenticity. Yeah, I don't have to hide it, and that gives me a lot of a satisfaction of my authentic self, sharing it with others. Kumbaga,
Oo.
kumbaga.
Parang yun din yung na-realize ko na the mark of a person who has, really healed, who has been healed, who has transformed is to share the story. Kasi wala nang shame, wala na rin blaming, wala nang guilt, 'di ba?
Yes,
It's just
yes.
acceptance for what it is and seeing it as a blessing,
Yeah.
something to be grateful for. Ayun.
Yes. I like
Pero
that word.
kanina na-mention mo, umiikot ka hanggang Cordilleras. My gosh, saan ka ba napapanood with your work?
So far, that's been the farthest. But yeah, with
Up north?
up north, yeah, yeah,
Bumaba ka rin sa south.
I also go down south as far as Bicol, and I've had there were opportunities to go further Visayas and Mindanao, but yeah, pandemic hit. But yeah, you'd be surprised where this problem of our society pops out. You know, it's not just it's not just in the metro areas, but it's also in the provinces. And whenever something, if I'm able to, yeah, why not? Why not?
Oo. And I remember a post that you also went to a jail
Oh yeah.
and the conditions were really bad, but you were there sharing. Sabi ko, grabe si Chris.
Yeah, it's just it's just imparting something. I've been through that, Brendy. I've been through that. So why not? Why not? If I can be, of help wherever that place may be, why not?
Oo. Parang addiction, it doesn't really choose any age, right?
It doesn't. It
It
doesn't.
doesn't. But your work is more on the preventive measure.
As much as possible, yes, that's where my mindfulness comes in. But when it comes to, because I'm also a consultant to several facilities. So yeah, yeah,
So
whatever
it's really
whatever
part of
level.
the program, yung mindfulness, so that they could also
Yes,
recover.
yes, because a big help of it is, it craves the it you mindfulness is a very gentle practice. Goodbye, Brandy. I know you know that.
Oo. Sige,
And
explain mo. Yan. What is mindfulness? And how do you use it for ano, cases ng addiction and
what is
substance
mind?
abuse?
I put a little ignition to it actually, because sometimes that definition of mindfulness where it's awareness of being present at the present. But what is the present moment? Diba?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's an abstract. I tend to define it as giving one long loving look at something, whether it be a situation, whether it be something in front of me, whether it be what time of day it is, just giving something that curiosity, one loving look. Diba? Mindfulness also makes you get in tune with your feelings, emotions, and kasi with me, when I was in that spiral of chaos, all I felt was anger and sadness. And, I tried to avert from these feelings through the use of drugs. But now into recovery, now finding the practice of mindfulness, hey, you know what? These are emotions that I need to go through. I need to sit with them. I need to befriend them. The more I push them away, the more they persist. Diba? And getting renewed to find these emotions. Oh, what's in for me? What's the wisdom? I'm feeling angry. Why am I angry? I get to parse whatever I'm going through. Whereas before, it's funny, Brenze, when I was in active addiction, I'm sad. I'll take a hit. I'm
Sad,
angry. I'll
tapos
take a hit.
ano na
Yeah,
ulit. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm happy. I'm taking a hit. Whatever situation, there's always that. Diba? But with mindfulness, it helps the cravings. Oh, the craving is here. Maybe I just sit down, quiet myself, and what can I do about it? It may take 10 seconds, 5 minutes, but it goes away. Just being able to acknowledge what's going on inside of you is really a big help already. You know, there needn't any. You don't need any posture. For me, yeah, that's my practice. There's not
Yeah.
any posture. You can be in the middle of a bustling neighborhood, in the middle of a bus, or with with a lot of noise, but you could still do it. Just giving yourself at least 3 breaths. And that space that mindfulness creates, that whereas before it was always automatic response, but with this practice of mindfulness, oh, teka lang, I can't take that drugs. It happens in a quick second, but that's where the healthy choices come from already. Diba?
Oo. I'm glad that you're able to find mindfulness really helpful, and a lot of children even in Ateneo are also practicing it. Nakakatuwa siya.
Yes.
Part rin siya ng self-care.
Yes, yes, yeah. It's part of self care. And they get to notice, they get to be gratified. You'd be surprised what their feedback is when they're done with their club. There's this time where there's always this response. Sir, thank you. I'm able to handle my stress now. Sir, thank you. I'm able to share the practice. Sir, thank you. I'm able to appreciate food with mindful eating. And there was this one time, a feedback form, and how did the club help you? It didn't help me. How did the what activities were able to, can you use in your daily life? Nothing. So going through that survey form, sweat was kind of pouring, and oh,
Parang
and then
negative, no?
yeah, but at the end of it, why what did you find helpful in this club? And he said, I felt safe. I felt that I belonged. And there's really no goal or what you have to achieve when it comes to mindfulness, but it's different from person to person, from kid to kid. Diba?
Oo. Ang ganda ng shinare mo. Thank you for sharing that. There's really no specific result that we are
Yes.
aiming for. Sometimes you just have to allow yourself to be surprised kung ano yung result ng
Yes, right?
mindfulness.
Yeah, there's really no goal to it. Diba? Sometimes just sitting down, it is what it is. Oh, I took a break. Diba? Sometimes introspect would come in, sometimes wisdom would come in. Diba? But yeah, there's really no goal when you do the mindfulness practice. You don't
Actually,
have to go astral.
yung yung sa'yo is the entry point ng mindfulness. Kasi sa practice ko naman ng mindfulness, maabot na sa spiritual.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's
very
true.
spiritual na rin siya in the mindfulness is just the entry point in
Yes.
but it helps a lot in terms of grounding, in terms of getting to know what's really going on inside. That's
That's
why I
true.
also enjoy it so much.
Yeah, that's true, Brandy, right? It becomes purposeful as you continue to practice it, finding how it works for you. Yeah, we always have to start with, your foundation, but I really like your practice as well, where it goes to that spiritual um, level already, diba? Like also with addiction, diba? Sabihin mo sa addict, just be quiet, comfortable with the silence. Hindi magagana yun eh. But you have to lead them too. Diba? But of course, the foundation should be there.
Oo. Oo nga, speaking of kanina kasi you also mentioned recovery.
Mm-mm.
Um, yung recovery period, is it a short time, a long time, or forever? Does it ever end? Kasi 'di ba, lalo na when you said that it's nasa genes. So, it's a chemical imbalance created by hormones, by genes. Parang
Yes.
maaalis mo ba 'yun talaga? I mean, will it be a commitment, lifelong commitment of, sticking to what's good, 'di ba? Kung ano yung mas
Yeah.
positive sa buhay. Paano ba 'yon? In how would you
Yeah, there are different
explain that?
programs, Brandy. I can't speak for anyone,
Yeah.
but putting the science behind it, it is a lifelong program. It is a lifelong disease. It's like asthma. Whereas sometimes it's there, sometimes there's a relapse. And addiction is always there. From me, it's a lifelong commitment, Brandy. It's a life. it's a life of recovery that I have to, yeah, finish. The only time probably that I'm done or I'm what we say cured is when I'm 6 feet under. You know, it is. The genes are
Exhaling
there.
mo
The
ng
physiology is
candidness mo.
there. Yeah, it may be my end goal. Yes, finally I'm free from this disorder. You know, but yeah, it is a lifelong process, Brendy. When it comes to if a program would work for you or not, it's really on the individual as well. Um, yeah. So like right now, I don't drink. Of course, I don't do drugs. I don't whatever mood altering substance that can maybe trigger me. Wala. I just try to steer clear from that.
So it's an everyday choice rin, moment to moment. Parang ganun yung
Yes.
malabas.
It's a one day at a time recovery. It may
Oh,
take
yun.
a second, yeah, and it's a victory because one day clean, one day sober is already a victory for me. There came a point where I said, I will die with this addiction. I will, you have never left me and we will be married. But lo and behold, uy, kaya naman pala. But there needs to be intervention and that one day at a time sort of program to yourself giving you that everyday victory gets you clean. What I mean is, wow, I'm clean today, maybe tomorrow I'll do it, and then tomorrow comes, you have that thing again where I'll be clean today, maybe tomorrow I'll do it, and oh, I've already racked in this years where I've been clean. It's a gentle kind of approach, actually.
So day-to-day basis.
So one day at a time. Yeah, that's my program actually. One day at a time. One day at a time.
Oh. Pero alam mo, for people who are kind of impatient, who wants to see results, immediate results, parang that kind of answer won't be satisfying.
Yes, I know. I know. That's where you need the support, actually, Brendy. There's people out there doing a program, which is always welcome. They're free to come in to join anytime. The information is really out there. There's always help that's going to be out there.
Yeah. Ano lang naman eh, kung ready na yung person to get help, then help will
Yes,
always be available.
yes,
Pero
yes.
that
And
also means family members and friends of those who are going through these kinds of issues or disorder also has to be informed.
they have to be informed, Brendy, because they are sometimes the triggers as well. Diba? They expect, oh, you're 3 months into recovery now, go get a job. You can do it already. And yeah, those are the triggers of people that suffer from addiction. Sometimes it does take time. It's also with the person, and that problem of relapse is always there. Again, it's like that diabetes or asthma where relapse is there. I'm not saying relapse is part, it's definitely not part of recovery, but it's part of the disease. And yeah, it's not only the addict, because it's not only the addict that suffers from addiction, it's the family too. They have their traumas as well. And with this healing process, the family, the friends have to be informed. They have to know about what's going on as well. Diba? And they have to also find or even seek counseling to what they went through. Diba?
Oh,
Yeah, I before I used to stay away from my classmates when they get together. Yeah, and because there's gonna be drinking, there's gonna be that kind of thing. And lately, I've touched base, and it's funny when you hear that, "Hey, kaya mo yan, state of mind," and there it is again. No, so there's always this. I know I have to be on alert every time. My addiction is just sleeping right now. Any trigger, any situation, especially when it comes to relationship, those are the number one relapse reasons, actually, those triggers. Diba? So I have to be vigilant always. And I have to be, when there's a saying in recovery, if you don't need a haircut, don't hang out in the barber shop.
So parang linis-linisin mo yung environment mo, including people,
Oh,
gano'n.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you. Galing mo, friends. Nakuha mo, ah.
Sabi.
Yeah,
So talagang declutter, declutter.
yeah,
Maglilinis ka. Spring cleaning of
yeah. You have to, sometimes you do have to get away from your environment. You do have to relocate. Um, I'm happy my full blown addiction was in the States. So here, you know, it's less of a trigger for me, the environment. Yeah, I do surround myself with healthy people now, people that perhaps share the same purpose, like with you guys, people in Zefam and the other recovery addicts, my friends in recovery. Those are the people that I surround myself with.
Pero parang it seems like talagang magigain mo yung self-worth and self-confidence mo when you start to make decisions that's good for you rather than what you believe other people would feel or think. Kasi at the end of
Yes,
the day, you have to really focus on yourself and avoid all the triggers.
yes. It's still you. Eh. It's still you.
Oo.
At the end of the day, it's still you. What choices will you make? I like to put it this when it comes to this, is it my self will or is it God's will? Diba?
Paano mo nga naman sasagutin yun, di ba?
Meditation helps, diba? Oh, sige, if it feels bad that there's a little hesitation, just to put it simply, that might be self will. Most probably it is self will, diba? But no. Yeah, so
Ako,
yeah, go ahead,
parang
Renz.
hindi rin masagot no? You really have to discern Go within to
Yeah,
find the
yeah,
answers.
yeah, yeah. True. Mahirap
Iba-iba.
nga eh.
Iba-iba ang
Iba-iba.
journey.
Iba-iba talaga. Iba-iba talaga. But, these tools that we can learn, or the people that we could turn to, like you or me, when it comes to, you know, mindfulness is a good tool to have in your toolbox. Diba? For
Yeah.
you to discern. I like me. I up to now I still do counseling. I mean, I have counseling. I have my spiritual director. I have, mentors that I turn to as well. Diba?
Oh. Actually, sa akin for being a practitioner of mindfulness helped me become a better Catholic.
Yeah,
Oh, it helped me become a better Catholic. So that's one thing that I also am grateful for. Ano.
yeah.
Pero in your case, aside from mindfulness, what were the things that really helped you overcome? Kasi sabi mo nga everyday decision siya eh, di ba?
Yeah.
Pag-isipin ko parang, oh my God, every day I have to face the same thing. Parang, wow, pawis. So how do you take it one day at a time? And how do you go through the day, overcome it?
Yeah.
Di ba? Moment
First,
to moment, overcome mo. Parang paano yun?
well, there's that need for satisfaction. I keep myself busy with responsibilities, but it didn't start there. When I entered recovery, I had to keep it simple. I had to keep my daily routine simple. It was just household chores. Then it was, adding more chores to that. Just keeping it simple, no major decisions for the first year. And then I entered Cefam the year after. At least that stress wasn't there. It's those decisions. And you have mentors for that. There are counselors for that would help you. I have a sponsor in recovery. And when you say sponsor, he's my guide. He's my wise old man. And, At the end of the day, the decision will still be with me, but of course, the suggestions are there. And these suggestions are the healthy suggestions na hindi na yung, ikaw, kung kaya mo, hindi ganun eh. Kasi it's someone that went through recovery ahead of me. And, someone who's been through that, been through the stresses. And it helps. It helps. Seeking help talaga. You know, nowadays, noon, when they say, lakad mo lang yan. Okay ka na. It's not the case nowadays, di ba, Brents? It's not the case anymore. People have to seek help if they need it. Is
Oo.
yeah.
Pero ngayon now that you're sober,
Mm,
and now that you're also a mindfulness practitioner, mas mas clear na sa'yo, 'di ba? Kung ano talaga yung nasa
It
heart mo
gets it
and
gets
kung ano yung
clearer.
truth mo,
Yeah.
and you're already following that.
Yes. Yes,
So
Brents.
it's through the practice of mindfulness, or meron pa bang iba that also
Um,
help in the process?
I'm very blessed to find recovery. I follow this 12-step program. And actually, if you look at this 12-step program, it's very similar to Ignatian Examine. It was this 12-step program was just reworded or put in a way that's, workable for someone like me. Um, what other things do I do to take care of myself? Prayer. With addiction as well. You know what? Actually, it was also an absence of spirituality. There was that void. And once I filled this up, recovery taught me that, Sefam taught me that, my spiritual direction taught me that, which is why it's easier now to make those choices. Diba? Um, yeah, I do put a lot of spirituality in my mindfulness practice, but that's for me. Diba? That's my own personal uh, experience. I, some of my counselees would gear toward that also, but only when they're ready. Diba? But for
Yes.
me, yeah, I definitely put a lot of mindfulness, and my mindfulness and spirituality go toe and toe talaga.
Oo. Actually, I can relate to that. Pero syempre,
Diba?
spirituality is also a big word eh.
It's
So,
a big word.
different kinds of spirituality. So
Yes.
definitions could go all over.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it all leads us to God.
Yes. Or a higher power or a God of my understanding is how I put
Yes. Oo.
things. Yeah. So,
Okay. Ayun. So, ito, kasi mag-e-end na tayo, Chris.
sige.
Invite them na lang to your kasi there's an upcoming program. Aabot ba? Yun.
Yes.
Sa mindful.ph.
Yeah.
Is that, ayun,
Yeah.
maybe you could promote that.
Sige. Thanks, Brendy. Thanks, Brendy. Yeah, I'll also, if they ask also, I'll give you my number. But yeah, we do hold, I'm a co-facilitator of Mindful.ph, and we do have a Facebook page. It's Mindful.ph, Mindful.ph. And we do a lot of workshops for kids. We also work with teens and adults as well. We do offer one on one services with mindfulness based cognitive therapy. And at the same time, there's always an ongoing program for kids. We have one coming up. It's a 4-week program starting March 6th. And yeah, you could just send us a message. Again, it's our Facebook page is mindful.ph. And if you are interested and would want to talk to one of us, you could ask Brendy for her number. Or do you want me to plug it, Brent? No, they could ask you.
And actually, when I post this video, I'll also include the Facebook page, and if they ask for your number, then I'll give.
Okay.
Ayun. Yun na lang.
Thanks, Brendy.
On a need basis na lang rather than
Yeah.
post it in public
Yeah.
talaga.
Thanks, Brandy.
Ayun. But thank you so much, Chris, for talking about this. It's a heavy topic, but then it's when you talk about it, there's lightness to it as well. So that's one thing I appreciate kasi parang meron ano um, as much as possible, I want things to be very uplifting, very
Yeah,
inspirational and motivational. And I am glad that, you're here to talk about it in a very light way. And of course, the
right.
seriousness is still there, but then hindi siya ganun kabigat. Lalo na
Yeah.
when I look at your aura, it's so nice.
What's the color of my aura? Is it green or blue?
Oh, basta light. Yun yun.
It's a good thing too, because maybe why am I like this? Even if I'm going through an everyday challenge, recovery is fun. To those out there, recovery is fun, and when it's fun, it works.
Lalo na kung victorious ka everyday.
Diba? Diba?
Yun yung fun. Pero pag
Diba?
magsisimula ka parang
They can talk to me about that when they're starting, but you know what?
all right. So thank you so much again, Chris. And for those who are watching, remember that you're highly favored and truly blessed. So if you need help, don't hesitate to ask for help. Help will always be there and it's always available. So just be open to it. Yun, just like what Chris said. So thank you again thank you again for watching and tuning in. So we're open to feedback. Send us private messages or send me private messages which I can relay to Chris. Um thankful for this time and for this opportunity. So God bless
Thanks, Brendy.
everyone.
Thanks, Brendy, for having me.
Take care.
All right.